This is Sports Fluent, the coach in AK. I'm Anthony K, and I'm joined every week by former NFL coach Hugh Jackson. We talk about sports and social issues facing the world today. We also bring some great guests along to join us. This week's episode is brought to you by Anchor. It's their creation tool that allows you to record and edit a podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Now to Sports Fluent, the coach in AK. All right, welcome to Sports Fluent, the coach in AK. We're down a coach, but we're up. Curtis Gladney from Playbook Athlete. Curtis, how you doing, man?
Very well. Hope you are.
I'm doing great. It's good to see you again. I want to start things off by saying first, the first time that you and I met, we talked about why I grind. And I told you do you remember what I said, why I grind?
It's family.
And so I wanted to show you. It wasn't just talk, man.
Look at that.
Why I grind. I love these shirts, by the way. And I know it's not just about the shirts, but it's comfortable. It fits nice. It's good.
We got to send you some more, man. That was a popular shirt at the time. We got to send you some more out your way.
Oh, hey, we'll definitely talk about that. And let's start there. So Playbook Athlete. Tell us why you started it and how it evolved into why I grind.
Very good. So we started Playbook Athlete to give athletes an opportunity for exposure to get to the next level. Why I started it, I hung out with a bunch of the big jocks in high school. And I remember thinking any day now, Nick Saban's going to knock on that door and come take these guys to Division I football. It didn't happen. But I realized very quickly that was because nobody knew about them. So born Playbook Athlete, we give athletes an opportunity for exposure to get to that next level. But you said what it's become? It's morphed into a movement. Hashtag why grind. Everybody has a why. Everybody has a reason behind what they do. And we try to pull that out because when you figure out why it is you do what you do, well, then you know that it's within you to carry on. So we tell that story on playbookathlete.life. You can see the videos there, but the apparel side is a big piece of it because you can find a shirt on that site. I don't care who you are. Everybody can go to that site, playbook.store, and find a shirt that covers their why. Like you got family on, we know what your why is, self-made. I love it. Hashtag why I grind. So it is generational. Everybody, it resonates with athletes, professionals. If you're putting a DeWalt battery on a drill and you're out there 12, 16 hours a day, you have a why. And that's what we try to do. We try to capture those why and help tell those stories.
So let me pause right there. I'm actually go back a second to Playbook and ask a question. So I get asked a lot, right? So I went to high school in just outside of Toronto in Canada. And they were like, how did you get discovered? How did an American university find you and give you a scholarship and, take you down there? Now, for me, I was lucky. I went to a school that had some funds, right? We had money in the basketball account, and they sent me to summer camps. And where I was, I guess, discovered, for lack of a better term, was that I was at the University of Kentucky. I happened to be working on a team with Tony Delk, who's been on the show. Shout out to Tony Delk, who also gave me my nickname. That's another show. You should go check it out. It's on YouTube, Sports Fluent. But I was there with a bunch of guys at the University of Kentucky for 2 weeks at a basketball camp. And that's how I was found. But a lot of people don't have that opportunity to go to those places where maybe there's coaches and scouts and whatever that they can be discovered. So do you focus specifically on US? Can people from all around the world say, hey, I'm in Canada, I'm in wherever part of the world, I'm in France. Can you help me, be seen? Because here's my goal, right? Here's what I want to do. And I don't know that I might be that talent that everyone's looking for and you don't even know.
Right. So it's funny you say that. We started in Atlanta, Georgia, and we had the idea to help a few athletes But when you start helping a few athletes, other athletes say, hey, I want an opportunity. So we grew from Atlanta, spanned out regionally. And but Playbook Athlete just hooked up with some Olympic hopefuls in South Africa. Shout out to Michael Bromfield. He's a good guy. He has a why and he wants to share it. So the answer to your question is absolutely. Everybody around the world has an opportunity to come into the Playbook Network. We work with trainers all around the US. We're starting to get a niche outside of the US with those trainers. But yeah, and what you said is very, very, that was the exclamation point on Playbook, because my brother's brother signed himself up for Virginia Tech football camp and he was offered on the spot. Yeah. And it was because of that exposure. So I definitely understand what you're saying, and definitely shout out to 00 Tony Duff.
Yeah. Hey, I was talking about him the other day because someone was talking about people who you never expected to score 50 who'd scored 50. Right. And I'm like, I know one. I know Tony had that game. It was a revenge game against he was supposed to re-sign with Sacramento and they didn't re-sign him, so he went and signed with Phoenix. And then that first game against Sacramento, he dropped 50. I think he dropped 53. But yeah, that was really a question that I'd been meaning to ask you actually for a while, because I know two things happened at that camp. One, I spent all day, every day, living, breathing basketball. Right. And I know I played better in those 2 weeks than maybe I'd ever played, because I was around a bunch of guys who just, that's all we thought about all day. And it's tough, right? It's tough enough, high school, college, whatever, to be a student athlete is hard. So when you get the opportunity to really focus, you can actually show someone, hey, this is what I can do if given the time and the tools to focus on something.
That's right.
And I think that, I don't think I would have been as popular just by what I did, because when I was at school, listen, I was like many people, right? My parents both were working 2 jobs. I was running back and forth between, doing my studies, trying to play basketball, trying to have a social life. And I had to go home because there was no one there to kind of take care of things. And I know a lot of people are in that similar situation. So I think what you do and what you guys provide is important. And that's why I wanted to bring it up. Obviously, the why I grind is important.
Absolutely.
And so now, I wanted to ask you about something kind of totally off topic.
Okay.
And it has to do, we've been talking a little bit about basketball, and we're going to move into football as well. But just this week, LeBron James, and you can probably see by the basketball, I don't know if we talked about basketball last time you and I talked, but you probably see that I'm a Laker fan.
Right. Okay.
So it pains me to even ask this question, because of course I want LeBron playing because it gives us the best chance of winning. But he broke COVID protocol, and COVID obviously is something, unfortunately, has been in the news and we've been talking about a lot over the last year and a bit. But nothing happened to him. No fine, no suspension, nothing. And just before you answer, because the question is going to be why not, and I think I know the answer, but Kristaps Porzingis of I think I said his name right, the Dallas Mavericks just got fined $50,000, I believe, or $500,000. I got to check, but it was a lot for breaking one of those rules. He was someplace that he wasn't supposed to be. Could they have not have fined LeBron? I get it. You want him to play because you want people to watch. And if he's suspended, everyone will go crazy, including myself. Why no repercussions for LeBron, but Porzingis does have to pay?
Well, I think that when Porzingis, and maybe I said his name right, if he missed the game, then Vegas doesn't go crazy. Vegas probably wouldn't even know if he missed the game. LeBron misses the game, there's millions of dollars outside of the NBA that's lost if he doesn't play. So the NBA is a business. I get it. They're in the business of making money. I get it. So for LeBron missing or breaking COVID protocol, it's almost like we're gonna look the other way on that, because at the end of the day, the NBA owners, the commissioner, they like those billions coming in. So LeBron's got to be on that court.
Yeah, listen, I want him there, and that's why I said, even Porzingis, they didn't suspend him; they just fined him. I wonder if he would have pushed back even on a fine, which that's what I think. If you don't want to suspend someone, fine him a little bit. He's okay. I think he's okay for money.
I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that they probably did fine him and he pushed back. So then it was like, you didn't hear about anything.
Maybe. So I did tell you about this one. This is a surprise question for you. And only because again, I've been debating today. I get a lot of people coming at me and saying, "Hey, I want to debate you on this." And today it was about super teams in
Okay.
sports.
Yep.
And I know you're a sports guy. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk football here in a minute. I promise. Um, how do you feel about basketball super teams? Do you think
It's
it's a
so
real thing?
I do.
Okay.
So I watched the NBA years ago. I say years ago, but when you could talk junk on to the camera, I talk junk about your opponent. That game is totally gone.
Yeah.
The game now is, hey, let me hook up with like 3 or 4 of my other buddies. Let's go to LA. Let's go to it was Miami at one point in time. Let's go to Golden State. Let's buy us a championship. Well, that's where it is right now. Is it fair? It's baseball's been doing it forever. Whoever has the most money, they end up winning. So the Yankees, I mean, everybody does it, and the NFL did it recently down in
I
Tampa
was just
Bay.
saying, isn't Tampa Bay then by definition a super team,
Tampa
right?
Bay did it, yeah. And I had that conversation. They were like, "No, that's different." I'm like, "No, no, no. Tampa Bay went from worst to first. They were horrible. I mean, and then Tom Brady came and he brought some of his buddies down there, and they won a Super Bowl. So it's all about winning now. If you can win now, nobody wants those build those rivalries. The rivalries are gone because nobody builds those teams for years. That's a wave of the past. So everybody's win now. So those super teams, they're not going anywhere. The NFL just got hyped to it. But hold on, there'll be more of those in the NFL and other leagues too.
So you said something there that I want to touch on, actually a couple of things. Let me first say on rivalries. That is the one thing I do miss because
Yep.
and now that's probably a product of free agency as well.
Right.
Someone once told me, players used to play to win championships for the city. Now
Yep.
they play to win championships for themselves and their
That's
legacy.
right.
I just saw a clip 2 days ago and I apologize. This is not a nice thing to say, but I'm quoting Kobe Bryant, where he's like, "Oh, we were down in Sacramento playing the Queens, right? There was a rivalry between the
Yep.
Sacramento Kings and the Lakers,
I
right?
remember that. I
Yeah.
remember that.
So that stuff is gone, which I agree with. And I do miss the rivalries. That I agree with you because people aren't kind of at one team as much anymore.
Right.
Well, to the super team thing, and here's my dilemma with this, and why I've changed my mind. I used to try to define this is what a super team is versus this is a team that plays super. I tried to separate the two.
Right.
And the more I talked about it out loud, I actually I think it's good for me. It was therapeutic, and I was like, you know what? There are no super teams because here's the thing: if Boston can trade for 3 players, the big three, actually one was Paul Pierce, so they traded for KG and Ray Allen. We didn't call them a super team. We
Right.
just said, hey, the GM did a good job bringing a team together.
Right.
The Golden State Warriors, pre Kevin Durant. Well, they drafted Draymond, Clay, and
Yep.
Steph, and they just developed. No one knew Steph was going to be as good as like anywhere near
Sleeper.
what he was going to be, right?
Yep. Hall
So
of Famer now.
yeah, 100%. He's in the conversation for one of the best guards ever.
Yep.
And well, is that a super team? Well, they were drafted. They were all drafted. So should I blame players for saying, the media has created this narrative that if I don't win a championship, I didn't accomplish anything, right?
Correct.
Look at the way Shaq talks to Barkley every day on TNT,
Yep.
right? No, everything he says, no rings,
No
no
ring.
rings,
That's
big
right.
fella, no ring.
That's right.
Well, is that fair to Charles Barkley? No, because kids don't know how good Charles Barkley was. All
Right.
they know is this guy who stumbles through sentences on
Right.
TNT, says some crazy stuff, is kind of funny, and has no rings. But they
Right.
don't know he was what, 6'4", 6'5", power
He was a
forward,
beast. He was a beast.
dominating, right? An MVP. He was
Right.
he was a menace on the court. And they don't see that side because they just say no rings. And I
Right.
think basketball, more than any other sport, we still give Dan Marino respect. He didn't win a Super Bowl, but we still say he's a great quarterback. And I think basketball has created this narrative that if you don't win a ring, then you're not good. You don't deserve to be an all-time great. So do I blame a player like LeBron for saying, "Hey, I've been in Cleveland for 7 years, 8 years, whatever it was, 10 years. I think it was 7. And look, the organization's not getting done. I'm not getting along with the owner. I'm a free agent. The whole point of free agency is I can pick where I want to go. So I
Right.
called up my friend, called up another friend, and said, "Hey, since our GMs aren't doing the right job, let us do the right job and come together.
Right. Right.
So do I blame them for something that, well, I did? I was working somewhere and I said, I don't like this job. I don't like my boss. This place, I was actually losing sales. I'm in sales. I was losing sales to this other company. I said, wow, they pay more. They give me more freedom,
Right.
right? They sell more. I will make a better life for me for going there. So what did I do? I moved. I left.
Right.
But why can't players do that? So that's where I kind of went. And that's why I got rid of the super team and just said, hey, however it's constructed, whether it's through the draft, free agency, guys coming together, I, you know.
But that's interesting what you said. You just parallel it. I never thought of it like that. Culture has moved such that we see the same thing in the workforce. Like you said, you had an opportunity to be better, you left, as well as in the athletic world. Now, I think I do for a little bit blame. I don't blame the players. I blame the culture of the sport. Because you don't hear about Karl Malone, you don't hear about Chuck and those conversations about great. And then when people talk about the greatest of all time, the GOAT, is it LeBron or is it Michael? Well, Michael never lost in the finals. Why is the conversation about the GOAT settled on the finals? I mean, we're talking about the player in regular season, how many times? Yeah. So there's more to it than just rings. Because if we're talking about rings, then Bill Russell's the GOAT, right?
Right. Exactly.
But we dismiss him and we just leave it at Michael and LeBron. So I get it. It's very frustrating from a players because I'm about loyalty. I mean, Tampa, did you really win that ring, or was that?
Look, you had it. Listen, you had a great team, and your quarterback didn't look. He still threw. I still think Jameis Winston's actually going to be a really good quarterback. I really do. I really do.
He is. He is.
And he threw 30 interceptions. He also threw 30 touchdowns.
He led the league.
Yeah, he was also in an offense that takes a lot of chances. And you even saw Tom Brady threw more interceptions than usual. Right.
He was just excused. He was excused. It was an excuse for him.
He was excused because they won the Super Bowl. He was excused. Right. If they lost because he threw an interception, I guarantee you he wouldn't have been excused. But that team already had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
Exactly.
The running backs, I'm drawing a blank on the running back, Ronald Jones.
Yep.
Right. And then you added Brady, Fournette, Gronk. I know it's an older Gronk, and Antonio Brown. You added you already had a phenomenal offensive core, and you added all those players. If that was that's the equivalent of an NBA team, right? That was it was the Warriors, and then you added the GOAT. It's like they added LeBron James, and then maybe an older guy. Like if they didn't win, I would have been surprised for sure.
Right. Exactly. And you already had a Corvette. You already had a souped up Mustang. You put a Corvette engine in it. Is anybody surprised at how fast it went? Right.
Exactly. So that's why I say I get away from the super team thing, because I feel like it's something we just started saying to create excuses. Oh, LeBron only won because he had a super team. Oh, well, he only lost because he faced a super team. Right. Oh, KD's never won a ring except when he's on a super team. Hey, you know what? Did they do anything illegal?
If there's nothing illegal, that's what you come back to.
Right. If it's in the rules, then hey, you might not like it.
Right.
Right. And then then you gotta, don't hate the player, hate the game, because
hate the game. That's
it's the rules that I agree. You probably want to change the rules.
The guy saying that missed quality basketball. We missed a player staying in a city for 10, 15 years and something building around them, and they that's a quality team. We missed those. Well, but we don't want to pay our way to a championship.
Yeah, but it's that's partially because of ownership, right? Because if they want to cut you or trade you, they'll do it,
right?
In a heartbeat. Exactly. And then look at guys like Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is that guy, that loyal, I want to play in Portland forever. But guess what? If he doesn't win a ring in Portland and retires, he's not going to be remembered. Yeah, he's not going to be remembered for a great player that he was, because it's like, yeah, he's a really good player. He put up some numbers, but he didn't win a ring, and they shrugged their shoulders. Right. And that's a shame. And that's that's on us. Way more basketball talk than I was expecting, but that's fantastic because I love basketball. So I want to switch. So every week we take a division in the NFL, and we're just kind of, now that it's post-draft, and we talk about their teams in that division and what their chances are this year. Coincidentally, we're talking about the NFC South.
The
And
South.
and as you are a Panthers fan, let's start with the Panthers. They've upgraded their offense a little bit.
Did we?
A little bit, a little bit.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know. Do you like Darnold?
As a person, I don't know him. As a quarterback, what are we doing?
Okay.
We had an opportunity to go get the kid out of Ohio State. What's his name?
Justin
He went
Fields?
to the. He went. You guys picked him
Oh
up.
yeah, I know. Oh, I don't know if you can
The
see the
Bears
helmet.
picked him up. Yes, we had an opportunity to get with Justin Fields. We had an opportunity to get him, but before the draft, we were like, hey, you know what? Let's go get this kid in New York who hasn't done anything. He showed up to practice a lot. Maybe they like that piece of it. But we put the house on Sam Darnold, and I just don't understand. I have no clue what we're doing there. Do I like the trade? Nope.
You don't like
Not
to.
at all.
I will say this. I'm high on Sam Darnold. I think he got I think he got an impossible mission in New York. I don't think
Right.
any quarterback could have gone to the Jets and been successful.
No.
So we don't know. He could be great. You're right. He could be horrible. We actually don't know. Is he good enough to win? If have you heard anything about Christian McCaffrey? Is he looking
coming back.
healthy?
He's coming back, and we picked up another running back to back him up. But okay.
Yeah, I think. Well, he had
but-
to, right? Because I think Mike Davis left. So
Right. I don't
makes
know why we
sense,
let him
makes
get
sense.
away. I don't know why we let him get away.
He is. I get it. You don't want to pay. Listen, he was time to get paid, and
Right.
you can't be paying that much money to two running backs in this quarterback-driven league, I guess.
We've always been kind of two-dimensional, I would say. We've always had a good running game, or a tandem with John Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. We've always had a good running game. CMC, Christian McCaffrey brings that. So we got rid of Davis and brought in the I guess Chubb or whatever his name is. But bringing in Darnold, we've always had a threat after that 3 to 5 seconds breakdown that we're going to run. We don't have that.
Don't have that.
So now defensive coordinators are saying, hey, just keep him in the pocket, and we just worry about maybe him throwing over the top, which probably ain't going to happen either. So I feel like we're already figured out. We can't win the South with this guy. And like I say every year, maybe next year is our year. And I've already said that, and we haven't even barely started OTAs, right? So
I agree and disagree with you, but at the same time, if I'm pegging the NFC South, I do have Carolina in fourth. Unfortunately,
I don't blame you.
Right?
I can see how you got there.
Let's move to the Saints. How they're in an interesting position. They've had Drew Brees at quarterback for a very long time.
Yep.
And now it looks, they didn't even give Winston an opportunity except for that one pass in the playoffs, which he threw for a touchdown, mind you. And they kind of, it was weird. You thought, why are they not giving Winston a chance when Drew Brees is hurt? They're giving all, the starts to Hill.
Right.
And then in the offseason, you're thinking, okay, so what are they going to do? And they end up re-signing, obviously, Jameis. They make him the starter, I'm assuming. And Hill's going to probably play the similar role, that do everything kind of.
Right.
Listen, I give Taysom Hill all the respect in the world. He plays special teams, offense, defense.
Done it all.
Everywhere. And it looks like he's going to play the same type of role. What do you see from the Saints without Drew Brees, unless something crazy happens and he decides to unretire?
So that would have been a different question if Tom wasn't in Tampa Bay. But I'll say this: Jameis Winston gives the Saints the best chance to win. Taysom Hill is good, like you said, with that slash. You remember Cordell Stewart? Slash.
Of course I do.
He does all this other good stuff. He's good in that, but Taysom Hill is not a starting quarterback. He's not a 16-game under center. Let me run this offense. Right. And that's nothing against him. That's just not his game. We've seen a little bit of that with Tebow, who's back also. But like I said, Jameis Winston, I'm scared of the Saints this year. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because they're not a joke. They still got Kamara. They still got the receiver, Michael Thomas. Yeah, they still got the receiver down there. He didn't all of a sudden lose his hands. He's still going to be catching passes. He's still going to make our secondary look like a varsity squad. But Jameis Winston, mark my words, We'll replay this later. Jameis Winston give those guys the best chance to win. And don't forget, he's a Heisman Trophy quarterback, man.
You might be the only person that agrees with me that I think he's going to have a huge year,
He's gonna kill
and
it.
he listen, say what you want about Drew Brees, all-time great quarterback, I get it. But at that point in his career last season, Jameis Winston threw a better deep ball than Drew Brees last year.
He
And I
couldn't
think
go
Michael
deep.
Thomas, I think Michael Thomas is going to be the biggest and
Yep.
the happiest of the receivers because he's going to benefit the most from Winston. And I think in Sean Payton's offense, he's going to put him in position where he's not going to throw
Yep.
so many interceptions, obviously.
That's right.
And listen, and let's not knock that defense. That defense played a lot better than people
No.
remember last year.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, they're going to be scary, I think, in that division. And we are, listen, just because you brought them up and I forgot, the last question after we get through two more teams, I want to talk to you about Tebow. So don't let me forget. The next team, and I probably should have said this one because this one actually is going to be at the bottom there with Carolina, Atlanta.
Oh,
Atlanta always seems to be hopeful.
Dumpster fire.
And then just, now the Julio Jones, not apparently, wants
Right.
out.
He wants to get out. Yep.
Let's start there with Julio Jones. One, how do you feel about Skip and Shannon calling him up live and asking him? And do you think that was planned? Do you think it was planned? Do you think he knew? Okay.
I don't think. Oh, you said that. I think he knew. I don't know if he knew.
He knew.
He knew.
Okay.
He knew it. Right now, if Skip Bayless called you, you're gonna think, well, he just wants to have a conversation. No, man. He knew, and that was his way of getting it out to the world.
Yeah.
He wants to get out. He 100% knew.
So you think it was like hey, call me, make it seem like it's on the spot, spontaneous. Yep. I'll say something because, hey, I do want out, and it's the best way without me coming out and saying I 100%. Want out.
And then he can say, "Oops, I didn't know." Pull the text transcript. There was a text before that call.
All right, I think you might be right. Listen, but if Skip called me, I'm still answering.
I'm answering. I'm picking up.
I'm picking up.
But, shirt.
But how do you think now? So Atlanta's got still Matt Ryan is obviously there, and he's good. I thought they would do something there, but they didn't. Calvin Ridley is going to be a really good receiver. But I don't know. Like, are they a 4-win team, a 5-win team?
You're being nice. Matt Ryan is nothing. Listen, if Atlanta gets up on you 21-0, nobody's scared.
Yeah,
they're gonna come back. They're gonna find a way to lose that game. Nobody's scared. So 4 wins. If Atlanta wins 4 games, we're winning 7.
Oh, that's what I have. I actually have Atlanta at 4. That's why I said, I should have brought up Atlanta because I was looking at I have Atlanta at 4, Carolina at 7. I've got the Saints at 9 or 10. I haven't decided. I still got to work that out. And then 12 or 13 for the Super Bowl defending champs, the Tampa Bay Bucks. I
can't argue with that. I can't argue with any of that.
Do they? Do you think do they have a shot at repeating?
I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna win it next year. Who's gonna stop them? So they're winning. They're winning the NFC South. They get out the South, so they're gonna get they're going through the playoffs. Probably a first round bye.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah, probably.
Who else in the NFC is gonna stop them? Seattle couldn't. Who else is gonna stop them? Chicago may make some noise next year.
I think it depends on how Fields develops, and it's nothing against Andy Dalton, but I think by about week 5. Fields is probably taking over as the starting quarterback.
You're going to see him.
I would love to see them. Of course, I would love to see them make that big leap in 1 year, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to let my Homer, fandom take over. But I think you're right. Like if you look at the South, so they got the South. Who's going to come out of the North? Well, if Green Bay doesn't have Aaron Rodgers, which it doesn't look like they will, it probably could be, right? It'll probably be Chicago, maybe Minnesota. Because Minnesota has this weird thing where every odd year they play really well. So it might be Minnesota. I don't think the Bucs are scared of either one of those teams, unfortunately.
No.
Are they afraid of anyone in the NFC East?
No.
Probably not, right? Probably not.
Right.
And then it's the West. And in the West, you got the Rams now with Matthew Stafford. So who knows? I like Stafford, but who knows? Seattle, Russell Wilson kind of complained all offseason that he's running for his life. They didn't really address the offensive line.
I thought he was coming to Chicago at one point.
So did I. So did I. I was very excited. I was about to order my Wilson Bear. Listen, I'm happy with Fields, but Wilson's a proven commodity. I had my Wilson jersey ready to order. And
So
then
all that being all that on the menu
yeah,
means Tampa Bay repeats.
yeah, they come out of the NFC, and then who's coming out of the AFC? Well, they already beat the best team in the AFC,
Right.
right? They already showed they could put pressure on Patrick Mahomes, which no one else could do, and
Shut
they
them
beat the
down.
Chiefs. So yeah, you know what? I wasn't thinking that, but maybe that actually is our Super Bowl prediction. All right, so
I don't.
yeah, no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just don't see any other team beating them.
Yeah, no,
Not at this. At least not at this point.
at this
Maybe.
point, there's a lot of off season to
Right.
go. You never know. Tom Brady
Right.
is 57. He
Right.
might tweak an ankle or something.
Right.
He's making us look bad. I'm the
Yeah.
same age as Tom Brady, and
Yep.
I just see him and I'm like, man, he's making me look bad.
But you know enough about him not to bet against him right now.
No, never would. You're right.
I did in 2003. See what it cost us.
Yeah. So you mentioned Tim Tebow. So, I don't know how much you've been watching the show, but on the show every week, we always try to talk about social issues. We talk about the lack of minority coaches in the NBA, in the NFL. And today's the anniversary of what George Floyd.
George
And
Floyd.
so
Yep.
we try to talk about as much as we can to bring people together, have uncomfortable conversation. This is not to do with Tim Tebow, but it is in this sense. So I put out there that Tim Tebow, deserves zero chance in the NFL at this point.
I agree.
He hasn't been. Listen, he had his chances. He didn't make
Yep.
it. He didn't want. He wanted to be a quarterback. He went and played baseball. He went and became an announcer. And let's be honest, he is only getting this chance now. And this is where what I mentioned before about social issues. I said he's only getting this chance because of his relationship with Urban Meyer. It's not
100% agree.
right. It's not what you know. It's who you know. And that
how
was
well
my
you know him.
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Now that was my thing. Of course, then my inbox, my DMs got flooded with white privilege, right? White
Right.
privilege, white
Yep.
privilege.
Yep.
And look, there are times when I'm, and Coach and I talk about this. Look, it exists. It's there. I don't feel like this particular one is that, because like I said, if there was no relationship with Urban Meyer, then I'm probably on that same boat. But I think because of that's like his dad, like that's his guy.
Absolutely.
Right. Like I feel like that's why he's getting it. Do you feel the same way?
Yep. I think it's different from the Kaepernick situation.
Yeah, 100%.
But 100%, if you put it, if you write it, if you're on the whiteboard and you're sharpieing this thing, you're saying, all right, what did he do when he was in the league? Nothing, except for the touchdown pass that took him to the playoffs, the Broncos. All right,
Sure.
But that's not a resume strong enough to say, hey, take a chance on Tim Tebow. Now he is athletic. I think they're going to put him at tight end, but yeah. That's still another. I don't know what they're doing there. Yes, I think he got his opportunity because he took Urban Meyer to the championship, and Urban said, "Hey, brother, I got you. Give me a call. Come on out here."
Yeah, and here's my thing. So on the Tebow specific, just on that one thing, I'm like, okay, so he's going to play tight end. He's never played tight end before.
Ever.
Can he block? I don't know.
No.
Can he run a route? I don't know. In the NFL, can he catch? I don't know. So he does. I don't know any of the tight end things that he needs to do. Can he do it? And yet, and this is back to the social issues because we've been talking about this a lot. I don't know if you know this. So Coach, hope you feel better. Where's the camera? Hope you feel better, Coach. Is moving to Tennessee State. He's gonna be the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State.
Okay.
With Eddie George, who's the new head coach.
Yeah.
And we were talking last week how 259, 239, it was a lot of draft picks in this year's NFL draft, and not one player from HBCUs. Zero. You're telling me there's a ton of other schools too. Let me just talk about HBCUs. You're telling me there's not one tight end who's a proven tight end, who knows how to block, who knows how to run a route, who knows how to catch a ball, that has more experience and value as a tight end for a roster spot than Tim Tebow?
Right. So it's about money. They feel like they can get a better player for less, which is why they don't draft the guys from HBCUs and they leave it up to free agency. So undrafted free agent. So it's about money. And I'll tell you right now, no, there are a ton of guys on HBCU rosters right now. Well, I say right now, but at the draft time, that will obliterate Tim Tebow in every aspect of a tight end. So, and I honestly think that this Tebow thing will fizzle out probably week 2, hopefully week 3, and then we'll stop talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
So you
I
think he'll
honestly
be on the
think
roster? You think? Because I was like, I don't even think he makes a roster.
so. It's about selling tickets. It's the
Yeah.
Jaguars, right?
Right.
So they do have Trevor Lawrence, but they still got to put butts in the stands. So Tim Tebow will generate buzz. It keeps Jaguars name relevant. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna sell some tickets. He'll sell some jerseys. He's gonna make some money for the franchise. So this is just an opportunity. Like I said, it's about money. Everything is about money. So this is an opportunity, and that's what Tim Tebow is gonna bring. But the on-field play, he's gonna prove that he's gonna prove what you just said. Can he block? He can't block. He can't run a route. And it'll fizzle out, and then we'll move on from Tebow and talk about something else by week 3.
You know, in high school, and I know I'm going way back now, but in high school, I played tight end. And I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest with you. The first time I did a crossing pattern over the middle and caught a ball and got hit by a linebacker, I said I want to move to wide receiver.
I'm done.
I want to come across the middle a little bit. And as a quarterback making that move, I'm like, I don't know how much he wants to come over the middle, because you know there's going to be someone who wants to send a message.
Just because it's Tim Tebow.
Right.
They're going to take his head off.
They're going to light him up. And trust me, it's not, look, good for him. Listen, if I'm wrong, and I think I've proven this throughout the years, is that if I'm wrong, I'll come back and say, hey, I was wrong. Just unfortunately, last week, I had to do this whole apology about how I felt about Tom Thibodeau as a coach, because I thought he was going to drive the Knicks, if possible, even further into the ground than they were. And he got them into the playoffs, and they look good.
Look at
that. Yeah, I was wrong. So I'll be the first one. If Tim Tebow comes out, learns to play the tight end position, he has a good training camp, a good season, I'll be the first one to come back and say it. But I'll be really surprised if that happens.
Be surprised. And listen, I'll come back on the show if he's Pro Bowl material, or if he's like, if he breaks record. Listen, I don't foresee that happening, but I wish the best for him. I just think that this is a money situation, and it's not gonna.
I feel like I wish, and maybe I'm over analyzing this, but I wish they would have just, I get it that they want to sell tickets. Couldn't they bring him on as, an assistant coach, a team ambassador, something that still generates the buzz, but doesn't take away from someone? Because there's someone out there who now is like, going to go work at Walmart because, they were undrafted, they didn't get a chance. And I feel sorry for that person that, that might have been their one chance, and it was taken by someone who's had chances. And, you brought up Kaepernick. It's very different. Right.
Very different.
I keep that. Someone tried to compare them. I'm like, look,
they're not the same.
They're so different. So different.
Yep. And I think the piece we're missing is Urban Meyer does know that Tim Tebow can unite a locker room. Tim Tebow, the locker room went through Tim Tebow at Florida. He's not going to be able to do that because he's not the quarterback this time.
Right.
But I think he's trying to bring that dynamic in there, bring the locker room together. And maybe he can do that. Hopefully it works for him. But
yeah, I got a lot of comments when I first said this about Tim Tebow was, all he does is win. All he does is win. And how many times have you seen a tight end, right, really dictate a game?
Right.
And even in the locker room, a tight end.
Right.
And when you say all he did was win, listen, I'm not knocking anything he did in college. He is
what level?
Right. He is one of the best to ever do it in college. But in the NFL, okay, Denver had a nice 1-year run. But let's be honest, if you look at the running game, the defense, right, like all he did was win. Yeah, that team won.
He's one person.
He didn't pan out in the Jets. He didn't work out with the Patriots. He did there's a reason he's not in the league, right? So I want people to remember that it wasn't because of any other thing other than no one said I don't want Tim Tebow because he's a cancer in the locker room. They said we don't want Tim Tebow because he can't play.
Right.
At least can't play quarterback.
And I'll throw this at you. There's a lot of people don't realize this. There are a lot of athletes that are great college players. Yeah. That's it. Great college players. Yeah, you can rattle them off. Tim Tebow was a great college player.
Yeah.
Let's go and close that book.
Charlie Ward was a Heisman Trophy winner and a great point guard for the Knicks.
Absolutely. Right. There you go.
Right. I get it. College is very different. So we're going to end it with any last words that you have. Again, tell us where to find Playbook Athlete, #WhyIGrind, and anything else if I missed anything.
Well, Anthony, I appreciate you having me on the show. Like you said, Playbook Athlete, the whole wide grind movement, the apparel playbook.store. Check us out. We're at Playbook Athlete on everything. You get a shirt like that family. I love it, brother. I love it. Put us, take a picture when you get the shirt. Tag us at Playbook Athlete on social media. Use the hashtag #WhyIGrind. Join the movement. It's for you. We need you. We love to have you part of the movement, and we can't wait. We're excited for you. Playbook.store.
Curtis, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Are you fluent in sports? Get the full Sports Fluent experience by joining us on YouTube by searching Sports Fluent. Or you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at sports_fluent or by visiting sportsfluent.com. Need more from sports? Don't forget to check out undraftedsports.com. The Undrafted Sports Media Network has everything you need from every sport under the sun.